Well, hello YouTubers. Working on a Volkswagen today. This is a Mark III Volkswagen Golf. I'm not sure the exact year. Let's let's find out. This is Susie's old car. This little girl was made in late '97, so this might be even classified as a 90. Oh, you can't even see that. 10th month of '97, so it's probably a '98. Anyway, we got to do a couple things to this old girl. I've got new rear shocks for it. Actually, they're just over here in the shop. I got a box full of goodies for this thing. And a power steering belt and shocks, shock mounts. Putting a set of KYBs on there today. I'll drag those out right away. And I just want to do a little cleanup on the car. We've already cleaned up the inside. The inside's in nice shape. All set to go. It's a 5-speed. This car's got, I think, 220,000 on it. Let's find out. Let's see how many Ks this thing has. Oh, it's got 230,000 on it. 236.45. Oh, your fancy aftermarket radio. Turn that rear wiper off. Anyway, you gotta pull the key out to turn the radio off. So today, I got a few things to do there, and I gotta get some wheel paint. These wheel caps are just a little. Since we've had the car, they're just the paint's coming off, and I know I have wheel paint here, but unfortunately I only have white, which may not be the right shade of white for this car. And I'm actually not even sure that's white. I can't think of why by white wheel paint. And I also have what I think, judging by that spray, I used this on Scary Carrie's wheels one day. It's like a semi-gloss metallic black. So I got tons of friggin' rust paint, like to no end, and primer like you've never seen. Oh, also I have orange paint. That thing would look pretty cool, some orange wheel covers on it, wouldn't it? Especially some zesty orange. I bought this once. I was going to paint stripes on the side of my Dodge truck, my 81 Dodge truck. Never ended up doing it, so that won't get used. Just can't throw it up. Oh, Corey, I got your mattress. Anyway, so I'm going to pull the rear wheels now and start on those shocks. I'm just going to open the hatch because I think there's one bolt on top of each shock. I've never done this job, so excuse me. And I'm also going to take a look at the rear brake shoes. It's got rear drums. And the other part, I replaced this fender. I don't know if I even did a video of that. This is a replacement fender, and this area here just needs to be sanded and then painted as well. And I do have the matching paint for this car as well, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, stay tuned. Alright, got the car all jacked up now. And I just had to pop these covers. There's a cover here and a cover here. Kind of dirty already, that's not good. Just one nut on either side. You just got to pop that thing out once you've done the work under here. I like to remove that nut last. And this is all we're dealing with. There's our shock. You can see this one's been leaking for a while. You can see all the dust is collected on that boot. This car was super bouncy. There's really only one bolt at the bottom that holds this thing on. And that's right there. You probably can't see it. It's right there anyway. So we're going to undo that, and then we've got the car properly supported. And Bob's our uncle. Should be easy stuff. Okay guys, I got the strut out. Pretty easy stuff. There's actually two nuts to hold it in at the top. I'll show you that in a second. And a single 17mm bolt at the bottom. You're also going to want a 17mm wrench. Where I have this jack handle, come around this side. I put this jack handle here just to pull the axle down so that I could actually have room to get the strut out. I pulled the strut out ahead of this mounting point here. If you remember, that's where the bolt went in there to mount it. I had to push this, push the hub down, then move the axle forward and down and out. You cannot do it to the rear because you got this fueling stuff in here. It's right in the way. Not best. So what I was going to point out was in the trunk. If you'll remember, I showed you these the top nuts. I would break these loose before you dump the suspension, before you undo the bottom nut, maybe even while the vehicle is still loaded so that there's tension on there. They came off in an order something. Yeah, something like this. So We did our top nut, washer, and that does like almost nothing. And then finally we had this is the nut that actually holds the strut in place, washer, and this rubber bushing. I could probably reuse these rubber bushings. It's still pliable, still good to go. You can see there's some wear in there, but nothing to complain about. And there's another washer under here, so it's just a never-ending series of washers. Okay, I picked up the spring compressor, oh geez, months ago. I've been planning on doing this job for months. It's just never happened. So for like 60 bucks, I got the spring compressor set, which came with these two threaded rods, clamps. And so the idea is you just thread this thing in here and it compresses your spring. So we're going to give that a try. It seems safe, and there's not a lot of tension on the spring anyway. Well, compared to some others. But because the car is very heavy there, lad. Oh my goodness, one part that's difficult is they put this spacer bushing here. So from the top of the strut, this nut would tighten down and locate everything. Don't worry, I have the pressure taken off the spring right now. So I couldn't even get this lower, or I guess upper spring pad off. This was badly rusted on. Okay, so I thought I had the wrong parts, but I've never seen struts like this. Call me an amateur or whatever. But this ring comes off the friggin' shock, so all this has to do is slip onto the new ones. The lower spring mount. I just went to Lordco and bought new shocks because I thought these were wrong. So that's kind of the way things are cocked up here. So I just spent $37 plus taxes buying new struts when I didn't need struts. Ah, man, I can't even blame anybody but my own ignorance. Brutal. So I hope you've learned from my errors. And yeah, these just slip off of this shock, making it a strut. Oh my goodness. Well, I've never seen that in all my years. Anyway, this is why I don't work on Volkswagens. Or maybe it's because I don't work on Volkswagens that I just don't know. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, well, this is going to be easier done than said. Oh baby, we did it. It's all together, just got to reinstall this one with the new hardware, new dust boot and bump stop. We're ready to go. Okay guys, so I got the struts in, no problems doing that, no problems whatsoever, we're good to go. And I was just crawling underneath looking at the exhaust because I know it's got a little bit of a leak. Oh, by the way, I've got my flame-proof overalls on now. We're ready to weld. And problem underneath this car is it isn't rust, it's actually, I hope you can see this. There was a clamp on here that we had this section of the exhaust, new cat. This is only about a year old, maybe a year and a half. I had it clamped on here and it did a really shit job. It's never really worked well. I've had to tighten these down a few times, and I took the clamps here somewhere. Here it is. Just garbage. There's a hole in the exhaust here, and there's a line on the top and the bottom, much like this one here, this little slot. So what I'm going to do, sand this all down, clean up the surfaces, and I'm going to weld it. Haven't welded in about 10 years, so this should be interesting. Anyway, that's our plan. Well, there's a lot of times on this old car where we don't know what we're doing. That may include installing rear shocks in a Volkswagen, but it may also include welding. Today we're using the Lincoln Weld Pack 100. I've got my wire speed set to, well, I want it set about 1.5. My power set to B. And I just kind of went by the little chart that they have inside the door here. Of course, we're using, I'm not using a tank, so it's the flux wire. I haven't played with this yet. We'll do that later. And we're using flux core wire. 0.35 thou is what we're using. Can't really read that. Yeah, it's 35 thou wire we're using. And what are we using? We're using some pretty sorry, swearing here at you. We are doing some pretty thin metal, which is probably 18 or 20, which is B 1.5, all the way up to 16 gauge, 1.6 mil. I don't think our metal is quite that thick. It might have been at one point, it's a little rusty, so looks like that's a safe range. I'm gonna go for Dickie here. Just gotta get a good ground. Yeah, hopefully we can get a good ground. This little ledge on the cat here. shouldn't be a problem. I just cleaned that up, cleaned that surface up a bit too. That's probably as good a ground as we're gonna get. And I want to put it there because I'm going to be welding from this pipe to that pipe. I'm out of breath. This is the hole I want to cover for sure, and hopefully seal this thing up in a couple of areas. Ideally I'd like to weld all the way around, but we'll see how that works out. Oh, I'm out of breath. Oh man, I'm also nervous. Perfect. It's definitely looking a little better. There wasn't the best. That's where I had my wire speed too low and my power too low. It's not penetrating. I'm going to try to stack a little bit more weld in this area to cover up that hole. And then I'm going to run a bead along this edge here, so I'll leave it off camera. Done about as much as I want to do today. I'm proud of the work I've done. A little look here. You can see I put the clamp back on. There's a hole at the top. It's actually a joint in this pipe that's been sliced in there I can't even get to. So I put the clamp on back on to cover that. But at least I've covered the two holes left and right that were on this pipe, so it's better than it was. That's all for today, kids. I can't handle anymore. It's not enjoyable to me. Did a little bit of body work here today. Gonna patch up that little patch. Exhaust is done. Struts are in. It's a lot tighter now. I don't know if you probably can't. It's a solid car now, boy. Took the wheel covers off. I'm gonna paint them. Spending a lot of time on this. Don't know why I am, because my level of caring is very low in this car.